Tonight, convener of Fix the Country, Oliver Vomawo, and one other protester hospitalized while in police custody as the police fight off claims they denied the protesters medical attention. We are live at the courts where dozens more detained protesters have been waiting to hear their fate, whether or not they will spend another night behind bars.
Emancipate yourself, so emancipate yourself from mental slavery. I don't know how more.
Stop again. Give me on arrest me coming back from church. I was coming back from mass. You guys arrested me. Give me my towel, please. My towel. No, give my towel. No, give my towel.
Well, there's pressure tonight for the Attorney General to get the courts to set the protesters free, but will that happen? We'll hear from the Deputy Attorney General. And Top Story is always brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies and holding insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Tonight, the convener of the Fix the Country movement, Oliver Vomawo, and one other protester have been hospitalized while in police custody following the arrest by the police for engaging in unlawful assembly. The police tonight have been fighting off claims they denied protesters medical attention. More on that shortly. But first, I want to take you live to the courts where lawyers of dozens more detained protesters are attempting once more to secure bail for their clients. The protesters will shortly hear their fate, whether or not they will spend another night behind bars. My colleague Kenneth JC joins me live now with the very latest. Kenneth, has the court delivered its decision?
Well, Evan, the court is yet to deliver its decision, and if anyone followed the proceedings yesterday, it ended earlier yesterday than it has dragged today. That is simply because, unlike yesterday, where you had about one lawyer representing like 8 people, today you have individual lawyers representing individual protesters. You can also have at least one lawyer representing about 2 of them. So they've all presented their cases to the judge, hoping to secure bail for their clients. It is one of the reasons why, as of now, the verdict has not been pronounced.
And Kenneth, state prosecutors today got a chance to formally serve lawyers of the accused persons. What more do we know about this and their reasons for wanting to keep the protesters behind bars?
Well, one of the lawyers brought to the attention of the judge that essential matters on record, and he said that since the arrest of the accused persons, they have not been allowed by the police to conference with any of the accused persons. And he prayed the court that on the basis of that, the judge exercises his discretion to stand down this case and grant them some conference with their clients. And they were formally presented with their charges, which included unlawful assembly, assault on public officers, damage to properties, and so on. Now, when they were presented with their charges, they wanted the police to excuse them, but the police officer said, no, you are in possession of accused persons. We cannot excuse you. So the police refused to leave the courtroom when they wanted a conference with their clients, and they were formally served with the charges that have been leveled against their clients by the state prosecutor.
But are we learned anything more about the state's case in this and why they're resisting bail for these protesters?
Well, the state is resisted a bill for these clients because they've mentioned that, for example, they are part of people who deliberately decided to obstruct public peace, and also are part of a group of demonstrators who assembled unlawfully at places that they were not designated to be. The state prosecutor brought the court injunction, which the police secured a month ago, preventing them from assembling at places that they were not supposed to. And according to the state prosecutor, they ended up gathering at those places, which were designated as a no-go zone between the 21st of September and the 23rd of September. So these are some of the reasons why the state prosecutor is arguing her case that these people should be kept behind bars until an adjourned date is reached.
And we understand there's a case of one prominent protester who was arrested but may not have been listed as an accused
Yes.
person.
Yes, that person is Felicity Nelson, who is a 34-year-old journalist. And then the lawyer argued the case that when she was arrested, it was about 3 days ago that she was arrested. She was not charged, so they do not understand why she has not been listed as an accused person. However, when the lawyers sought conference with all the accused people, including Felicity Nelson, it was agreed by the court that she is now officially listed as an accused person. And the lawyer for that particular woman pleaded with the court to grant her bail because, one, they say that she has a fixed place of abode. So if she's granted bail, there's no way that she's going to run away. Also, she has a teenage son and they live alone. And in her absence, she has no idea what will happen to her son. And the lawyer also asked why such a person of substance will run away. In fact, both of her parents are in court, and the lawyer argued that her parents are people of high substance and that her father is a respected senior retired public officer who is ready to meet the bail conditions that will be decided by the court. So there is no reason to keep Felicity Nelson, who a few minutes ago was not even listed as an accused person.
And how many protesters were brought to court today?
Well, we have 11 protesters. Originally, they were supposed to be 11. They were supposed to be 13, led by the lead convener of the group, Oliver Baka-Vomawa, and another person called Fanny Otu. But unfortunately, the police earlier released a statement that both gentlemen had taken ill. Now, Fanny Otu was taken ill yesterday, and Fanny was supposed to be part of the group that were presented in court yesterday. Oliver, we understand, was also taken ill yesterday. But as we speak now, they say that they are receiving medical care in the police hospital. Now, the state prosecutor wanted judgment to be passed in the absence of these two people, but their lawyers argued that no, since they are not feeling well, at least let's give them some time. And the judge also agreed that time should be given for them to recover. In the end, the state prosecutor also came to an agreement with the court that, yes, we should hold on for them to get better. So we should adjourn their judgment for them to get better and be presented before the court when the court is able to identify that they are indeed fit to stand trial.
And thank you very much. We'll come to you for the update once the court delivers its decision on the back of the appeals tonight by lawyers of the protesters seeking to get the court to grant the client's bail. And as you just heard Kenneth talking about the police statement today, giving us clarity on the whereabouts of Oliver Vomawa. We understand now that he has been hospitalized together with another protester, and it follows accusations by his lawyers that he was denied medical attention. The police, they've been denying that. I'll get into the police statement pretty shortly, but we also got a letter that lawyers for Oliver Vomawa wrote to the police with a complaint.
Yes, Evans.
James.
Yes, Evans. So that letter has been signed by Justice Ramsay Esquire, and it says that, quote, I will be grateful if you could promptly procure professional medical care for Mr. Oliver Mause Baka-Vomawa, who turned himself to your custody at 2:46 p.m. yesterday. That's referring to September 23, 2024. This request derives from the recommendation from a preliminary medical examination which was conducted on Mr. Vomawa after he was taken seriously ill earlier on the 23rd of September. Additionally, we find it necessary to bring the following to your attention: that one, the police medical care was not extended to Oliver Baka-Vomawa, and two, that the private medical care which we procured for him had to wait at the police station entrance for hours to be allowed access to him. And so those are the key issues they raised in that letter.
But we also then quickly had a swift response of the police, categorically denying the claims that have been made. In fact, the police tell us that they've actually given medical attention, and both gentlemen are now in their custody at the police hospital. Tell us more.
Yes, Evan. So the bit of contradiction is that in that letter, they say that Oliver fell ill on the 23rd of September, which was on a Monday. But the police, in their statement, say he raised issues about his health on the 24th of September, which is yesterday, the late hours of yesterday. And due to his complaint, he was taken to seek medical attention at the police hospital in Accra. In fact, he was sent there in company with another detainee who also complained of ill health. And so the two have been sent to seek medical attention. They have been diagnosed and have been admitted to the hospital for more treatment. And so it is not entirely true that they didn't give him medical care while he needed so. That's according to the police statement on the matter.
And that emphasis there at the bottom, the police wanted to emphasize that quote, at no point in time have the police denied the suspects any medical attention. As you pointed out there, the timelines vary from what the lawyers were saying to what the police have on record, and they put this on Tuesday, 24th September 2024. That's when that's Vomawa in particular,
alerted the police
that he had a medical condition that needed some attention, and they, as far as the police is concerned, they granted that medical attention promptly. The other suspect in question is called Faniotu, whose case also was triggered on the same day, actually Tuesday 24th.
Exactly.
And the police tell us that they are giving all of them attention. We'll try and get a bit more clarity from their lawyers. As we understand now, they are neck deep trying to get bail for these clients, and so the court is still in session. Once that court closes, we should have some clarity for you on this. But there have been a few more developments on this particular front, and I want to get to that. The National Democratic Congress, they have a statement out also today on this, and we also know that a petition has now been sent also to Shraj by a group of lawyers. Let's start with that. What is it that the lawyers are asking Shraj to do?
They start by laying the facts of the issues as they know, and also cited the conduct of the police in all of this, citing different sections of the Constitution as well as the Criminal and Other Offences Act as the police actions breaching some of those regulations. But they are demanding two key things. One, that per the precedent, they demand that the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice commence an immediate investigation to investigate the allegations they have raised, and two, that a commission makes a finding and order that, one, the rights and freedoms of the protesters were violated, two, that the police's conduct, including unlawful arrest, unlawful detention without food, and violation of the right to counsel, amount to unprofessional conduct, and that the commission immediately takes steps, including legal action, to ensure that the violations cease and the police officers who took part in this are dealt with by the law. And so that's the demand they are making from
Shraj. But what about the NDC? They are making specific demands of the Attorney General.
They say that, quote, the NDC hereby demands the discontinuation of the prosecution of these protesters and their immediate release. The increased spate of illegal mining under the watch of the NPP pose an existential threat to all Ghanaian persons who have decided to protest against this menace deserve commendation and encouragement, and not custodial punishment as is currently ongoing. So an immediate discontinuation of the case in court.
Thankfully, we can bring in now Alfred Chiayeboa, who is a Deputy Attorney General, joins us on the line. Also weighing in tonight is Dr. Adam Bona, is a security analyst, is the Chief Executive Officer of the Security Warehouse Limited, and Professor Kwadwo Appiah is Associate Professor, School of Law, University of Ghana, human rights lawyer himself. Thank you, gentlemen. But I want to start with you, Alfred Chiayeboa. You heard the demands by the NDC that you should discontinue the case against these protesters. Your reaction?
Thank you very much, Evans. Yes, I've heard a statement from the NDC. The power to discontinue or to continue a case is vested in the Attorney General. We have not taken a decision to discontinue the matter. The matter was referred to as a prosecution. We started yesterday, then we are in court today. as and when we take a different decision, definitely the public will get to know. But as I speak now, we've not taken a decision to discontinue the prosecution of this matter.
And I believe from what I'm hearing and call from my correspondent is the view of the AG that they should be denied bail.
We are in court not to fulfill the constitutional mandate. In fact, the constitutional imperative for 48 hours. And so in court, our argument has been simple, that the police need time to do further investigations. But the decision to grant or not grant bail is with the court. Even if we even concede that an accused person is granted bail, it's not binding on the judge.
But as we speak tonight, you are objecting to the lawyer's call on the plea on the court to grant them bail.
The attorneys handle the matter are in court as we speak. And they are putting across our case. And I think at the end of the day, whatever the court says will be binding on us.
You talk about the police needing more time for further investigations on the matter. Considering the sheer numbers involved here, and the fact that a lot of what we saw was live on television, the police themselves had a recording of this, and they now integrate that into our protest. Don't they already have enough to get these individuals, if indeed they committed acts that were unlawful, prosecuted and prosecuted swiftly?
In the first place, none of the accused persons that we have put before court can be said to be guilty at this stage. They are all presumed innocent, even if you have video footage. And so if you have had a video footage, you still need to do extensive investigation. And so because they are not guilty, we cannot say because we saw a video, we should rush into prosecution. But I agree with you. In terms of having matters heard expeditiously, it's something the law aspires to. And so if there's space for the matter to be heard expeditiously, why not? It's because it is the right of every accused person to have his or her case heard in reasonable time.
Yesterday, some of them were remanded into prison custody. I mean, considering how maturing our democracy is getting to now, for people to spend time in prison because they protested, isn't that a bit taking us back to the early days when we tried to get this constitution to a place where we entrench the rights of protest, which is really enshrined in there?
Yes, I do not want to go into the merits of the matter, but let me make this point. Every accused person, whether you took part in protests, whether you stole, whether you killed, if you are arrested, it is the power of the court to determine whether you are to be remanded or not remanded. And so whether you are remanded into prison custody or into police custody, you can say they've all been confined. And so if the decision of the court that the accused person be remanded to prison custody, that is the decision of the court. And it's part of our legal architecture, unless we are saying that we should do away with remand, and that so far as you are for the moment you are arrested, you should be granted bail without even the necessity of the court inquiring whether you should be granted bail or not. It's part of our laws, and this is not the first time that people have been arrested and remanded. And I don't think that is because they protested simply that they are being held. I mean, you know the facts. You've read the charge sheet, and you know specific areas that the state is looking at. Every citizen has the right to protest, to demonstrate, but you do so in accordance with law. As simple as that.
What do you say to those who will say that the state is using this case to teach them a lesson, but also to compel them and to subdue them into backing off future protests?
Not at all. Was it last week? Last week, people in their thousands took part in demonstrations on the streets of Accra. Were some people arrested? No. Why? Because they did it in accordance with what they agree with the police, and also in accordance with law. And so if you want to demonstrate and you are demonstrating in accordance with law, if anybody decides to arrest you, that will be an infringement of your right to demonstrate. In this country, hundreds, if not thousands of people have taken part in demonstrations. It's only those who at times decide not to go by the rules who get themselves involved in trouble. This without prejudice to the matter. In this particular case, I'm making a general statement.
Thank you very much there. That's Alfred Chianyeboa. He's a Deputy Attorney General, and we're still waiting to hear from the courts what the court's decision is. I want to bring in Professor Kwejo Apejo. He's Associate Professor at University of Ghana School of Law. Dr. Adam Bona is the Chief Executive Officer of the Security Warehouse Limited. And Prof, weighing on this for me, you've heard how this has become a matter of national interest, but also some controversy around the way the protesters have been treated, but also some criticism too of the way the protesters themselves, some of them acted during the protest. Where do you stand on whether or not the human rights question is being dealt with adequately according to law?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, a number of human rights issues come up. Of course, the right to demonstrate is well entrenched in our Constitution and backed by the Public Order Act. And so in that context, the demonstrators have the right to demonstrate. Now, other rights issues which have come up, which express some concern, include how they were arrested, the reasons for the arrests, where they were taken to various police cells without notification to members of the family and to their lawyers, and the fact that some were brought to court without charges against them. These are all critical human rights issues as well. So it borders on the dignity of the person, right to a fair trial issues. So my question is, what is the nature of the offense such that they cannot be granted bail? Of course, bail conditions are supposed to be directed by the courts on an individual case-by-case basis. So it is not that we say that everybody should be granted bail. But what is the nature of the offense? Sometimes the nature of the offense and the circumstances surrounding it determine if a person should be granted bail or not. And if you look at the surrounding circumstances where these alleged violators were scattered at various police stations, were not allowed to be accessed by their lawyers and so on, they constitute various violations of the rights and dignity of these demonstrators. And that is where my concern is.
But it's one thing to protest, is it not? Which obviously is a constitutional right. But then you have to protest lawfully, nonetheless. And the arrest that has happened and the detention isn't because they protested necessarily, if you look at the charge sheet. It's because they did so unlawfully, as the prosecution is arguing before the court as we speak.
Well, probably I don't have all the facts, but I don't know where the allegation of protesting unlawfully comes in.
They talk about unlawful assembly, for example.
And that I don't know what that means, because assembling is demonstrating. And so if they go on the demonstration, they are assembling. And so what is the unlawfulness about it? I don't know the details about it, so I may not be able to comment on that. But if it is unlawful, it could mean that they may have violated some laws, which include maybe vandalizing property or doing anything that obstructed the rights of other people to also go about freely within that neighborhood. I don't have the facts to speak to that. But that may be a situation where you can talk about unlawful assembly. So in any case, if the police have these facts and they can point to that the demonstrators engage in any of these activities, of course, the police has the power to arraign them before court and to even ask that they do not be granted bail. But a situation where some are denied opportunity or access to a lawyer, they are not able to conference with the clients, they are not even charged, some of them, when they were taken to court. These are serious violations. And in the case of two people who had fallen ill, by the police denying them access to a medical
Well, the police, they have categorically denied that. They've issued a statement to say, as we speak currently, those two individuals in question, Vomo and one other, they're all receiving medical attention at the police hospital, and they did so promptly, according to the police statement. And so that has been discounted, disproved by the police on that. But on the subject of the unlawful assembly, the prosecution have made two arguments on this. One is that the police secured an injunction against the protest at a particular place, and they didn't want them protesting within the vicinity of the Jubilee House because the police deemed that area a security zone. From the argument that we've heard in court, the police say that some of the protesters who have been arrested violated the terms of that arrangement, and that is why they've been picked up. Then we also saw the video of the convener who was demobilizing a police vehicle and throwing the key away whilst the police chased him down. A vehicle was also parked in the median, which the police wanted to tow away. I mean, these, according to the prosecution, violates the rules surrounding protest and public order.
Yes, if there's allegation of Oliver demobilizing a police vehicle, is true. That is a violation of it constitutes a criminal act. So certainly the police have to take action on that. Placing a vehicle in a place where it obstructs movement and so on could also consider a violation of the right to demonstrate. So on those grounds, yes, the police have to take action to ensure that order is preserved. So in that context, I would agree with the decision taken by the police. Of course, at the end of the day, it's up to the court to determine if a case has been well made by the police against the protesters in this context.
Grateful, Prof. That's Professor Kweju P.J. Chair, the Associate Professor in the School of Law, University of Ghana. Dr. Bonner joins us right now. Give me an assessment of how the police have handled this.
Well, good evening, Evans. Well, I would say I would give them 8 out of 10. I say that because anyone who has been part of years back demonstrations, the police used to be found of bringing, recruits from their training facilities who don't have numbers, who probably are still undergoing training, and then they will unleash them on you. They would beat demonstrators, your colleague who reported on this matter whilst I was listening, in fact got injured within the precinct of the police headquarters. But if you look at what happened, I monitored it. I spoke to some of the protesters on the day from day one to the second day. I spoke to some police officers on the day, and I watched it, live on TV and, on social media. I would say the police handled it very well, where I would say they've moved away. Maybe I pray that this becomes a constant feature where we won't have the police, using tear gas, firing bullets. Someone got his, the eye damaged completely. Your colleague, Latif got he has a permanent, scar. A permanent damage to his skull and all that. And others have suffered. The law students who were demonstrating some time ago were beaten, poured, pepper sprayed on them. And so I would say that the demonstrators could have done this better by not doing some of the things they did. Because as we speak, the reason for which they were there, we are not discussing it. We are discussing Oliver, in fact, going into a police vehicle and removing the key and throwing it away. And some have asked that, so Adam, what do you think? Why did they arrest him there? And I say no. For security reasons, if they did, there would have been stone throwing, pelting of stones, and people would have gotten, varied degrees of injuries. And so arresting him later and arresting other protesters later was the way to go. I would say that remand shouldn't be used as a way of punishing people. But I think that as a society, we should learn out of this and be very civil, because then anything could have happened looking at the way the demonstrators handled themselves. And prior to that, you look at about almost 1 million NDC supporters pouring out on the streets of Ghana, the whole country. And we didn't record this. And you have few people going, and we are this whole thing. And so the reason why they went on this demonstration, I would tell you, is lost on us, Evans. It shouldn't have been,
And Dr. Bonner, thank you very much for that assessment. And quickly, as you know, another petition has gone into Shraj already on this particular matter. Timothy Salikem Donko is one of the lawyers who penned that particular petition, joins us right now. Timothy, thanks for your time here on Top Story. Have you heard from Shraj already?
Yes, we've heard from Strasbourg already that they've taken receipt of the petition and that they are urgently preparing towards a case management conference where they will invite lawyers from both sides and then the investigation will commence.
But this subject is already before the courts, and the lawyers are making the human rights arguments there. Was this necessary?
Yes, it is necessary. The court has been very clear in several cases that you can concurrently pursue legal action in court and all other administrative processes that are afforded you by law. Siraj is the institution that used to be the ombudsman under the 1979-1969 Constitution. It used to play a very vital role in ensuring that constitutional rights are not violated. So the Siraj plays a very vital role in this combination, in particular that their process is a little bit more expedited than the court processes.
Timothy, thank you very much. Timothy Selikem Donko is a private legal practitioner and one of those lawyers who penned a petition to Siraj on this matter. The news night starts right now.
It is 73 days to the presidential and parliamentary election. Hello, good evening, and welcome to News Night. Tonight, universities are unable to process salaries and allowances, with many forced to postpone reopening dates and PhD oral exams indefinitely as the strike by 4 labor unions stretches into its second week.
As long as they refuse to pay, they are on strike. And so until a resolution is found, the strike will continue.
We'll hear from the Vice Chancellor's Ghana now making a desperate attempt to intervene amidst the ongoing crisis.
A very serious issue. VCG cannot stand still if there's a declaration of strike by almost 3 of the unions out of the 4 unions on the university campuses. So we are working hard at it.
For government, the challenges don't end there. Starting tomorrow, access to the remains of deceased loved ones may be impossible as the mortuary workers plan to strike within the next 12 hours.
We are not going to do anything that we do. Everything we do will not be done tomorrow. It's a total withdrawal of services. So one, we are not going to take the body in the ward. We are not going to accept body from homes.
We'll take you to Parliament where the minority claims load shedding is back. As its spokesperson on energy says, there's currently a deficit of more than 500 megawatts.
It is obvious from what is happening that the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government is just giving palliative care to the energy sector, intending to hand over a broken, dilapidated, aging energy sector to the Mahama administration.
We'll hear from him as he sounds the alarm bells on some contracts signed by Ghana Gas Company Limited, which he says must come to Parliament for approval. Also, President assures world leaders of Ghana's readiness to ensure peace before and after the December 7 election as he courts the support of the international community to check the growing spate of unconstitutional changes in government in West Africa. Stay with us because we'll tell you about what he said during his address to the United Nations General Assembly for the last time as Ghana's president. And later in our climate focus series today, we'll take you to Dambai, where a man is turning sustainable farming into a climate revolution, nurturing tomorrow's environmental leaders.
Our main objective is to provide a space where farmers can come and learn about regenerative agriculture and a place to gather also the youth, empower them on agriculture skills as well as to become a nature activist.
The LPG shortage hits part of Accra due to what industry players describe as supply issues with Tema Oil Refinery.
And in sports, we hear from former Black Stars captain Stephen Appiah, who is advocating inclusion of more local-based players in the Black Stars to help develop the local league.
All this coming up within the next 60 minutes. My name is Faustina Safwan. I'm doing this with
Evans Benson. Want to stay with us with your views and comments. 2055 11 Details after this.
Welcome to the Telecel Business Spotlight, dedicated to supporting and celebrating local SMEs as part of the Telecel SME Month 2024.
This business spotlight is on Sanda Ghana International, producers of Softcare sanitary pad and Softcare baby diapers.
When you are on your period and you need that extra layer of protection, Softcare has you covered.
If you are also looking for a diaper that combines exceptional comfort with unbeatable protection, Softcare is the way to go.
Call 0207 350 002 for more information or visit our social media handles.
The Telecel Business Spotlight is brought to you by Telecel Business.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. Me I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me da na ma da with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Dana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Hello, my name is Mami Akuya, an entrepreneur and a mother of two. My work keeps me busy most of the time, and sometimes it takes me away from my family. But the safety and health of my family is very important to me. As a working mother, I cannot afford to take any chances when it comes to matters of health. That is why I signed up for a family healthcare plan from Equity Health Insurance. My family and I have access to over 700 hospitals, clinics, opticians, dentists, pharmacies, and diagnostic centers across the length and breadth of Ghana. With Equity Health Insurance, I no longer have to worry about medical bills. Anytime a member of my family visits a hospital, Equity Health Insurance has got my family and I covered. What about you? Who has got you covered?
Call Equity Health Insurance on 050-660-7910 and talk to them about your family health needs now. Visit equityhealthinsurance.com for more information. Equity Health Insurance, here for you.
Are you concerned about your child's dental health? Hi, I'm Tanya from Bethel Dental Clinic, Ghana. We believe in establishing good oral hygiene habits early is essential for your child's long-term dental health. Baby teeth, also called primary teeth or milk teeth, will fall out and be replaced by permanent teeth starting at around 6 years old. So it's tempting to think that primary teeth are not important, but in reality, those baby teeth are very important. Your child's first dental visit will include a complete exam, cleaning, and a fluoride treatment to protect the teeth. Your dental office should ensure that your child's dental visit is comfortable, gentle, and welcoming. Schedule your first dental visit today and give them the gift of a lifetime of healthy smiles.
Healthy smile. You're so live here on Joy 99.7 FM. This is News Night, and let's start with the unrest on the labor front, shall we?
Indeed. Tonight, university administrators across the country are worried because university administration across the country has been brought to its knees. Universities are unable to process salaries and allowances, with many forced to postpone reopening dates and PhD oral exams indefinitely as the strike by 4 labor unions stretches into its second week. Evans, the unions include the Senior Staff Association of the Universities of Ghana, the Ghana Association of Universities Administrators, the Teachers and Educational Workers Union, and the Federation of Universities Senior Staff Association of Ghana. Their concerns border on government's failure to pay their agreed fuel and vehicle maintenance allowance and the delays in the payment of their past Tier 2 pension funds for their fund managers. Well, we know that the strike is already taking a toll on the running of the universities, and let's gauge the impact of the industrial action around the country. My colleague Michael Ashali joins me in the studio with more on this. Michael, you've been doing some checks. Let's start from the Greater Accra region, the University of Ghana to be precise. What's happening there?
Well, firstly, we know that school was expected to reopen
on Thursday, which is tomorrow, September 26, and teaching and learning would have commenced on Tuesday, October 1. But in a statement circulated to all students and staff members of the university says that the arraignment has been postponed. It says this is due to the ongoing strike by the various employee groupings. They said again that they will announce a new date in the coming days, except that they're not sure when exactly that will be. We'll also understand that the University of Ghana was planning to hold some activities, including Wear UG Day, but currently as it stands, we're unsure whether that will happen because they expected students to be on campus for it to be successful.
Michael, let's go to the Central Region. We understand that the University of Education, Winneba, has also been forced to make similar decisions. Tell us more.
Yes, Fosti. So in a social media post, the university said that they regret to inform the public that due to the nationwide indefinite strike by university administrative unions in Ghana, coupled with staff proceeding on compulsory leave at the university, all administrative operations have currently been temporarily suspended.
Now, let's take you to Kumasi. What's happening there?
So, the Akintin Apia Menkan University of Skills, Training and Entrepreneurial Development in Kumasi, it says that the PhD students may have to wait a bit longer before they can graduate. We understand that the graduate school has been forced to postpone PhD oral examination. It doesn't appear that a new date will be announced anytime soon. For some students, this may not entirely be bad news for them. It gives them some more time to prepare for their exams.
At the University of Energy and Natural Resources, we know that staff may not be paid by the end of the month. Why?
Well, Fosti, the statement, as we have cited, signed by the Director of Finance that we intercepted, says that due to the strike, payment of September 2024 salaries and book and receipt allowance may delay. And I goes on to say that it talks about some of the relative or the unions and the strike actions that is going on that are the reason for we them able to do this. And we know that GAWA, for instance, administrators are the ones who are supposed to be doing the processing of these fees, but they are not there to do that, including senior staff members.
Thank you, Michael Ashali. Now, although the impact is beginning to get out of hand, the striking unions are not ready to call off their strike anytime soon. National President of the Ghana Association of University Administrators, Michael Owusu-Ansah, says they haven't heard from government and will not back down.
No, unfortunately, we have not heard from the government, and that is the unfortunate part of it. We don't know what government is waiting for. But we in Gawa think that this whole statement, the failure of Fair Wages and Salaries Commission's work, because they should have anticipated this statement, they should have followed up. But Fair Wages also give the impression that they are also waiting on the Ministry of Finance. But Ministry of Finance do not work with individuals and institutions, so we cannot on our own go to Ministry of Finance for any feedback. But what has happened since we declared our strike is that we have had a meeting with the vice chancellors of the various universities in Ghana. We call them the vice chancellors Ghana. The vice chancellors Ghana have listened to GAWA on the basis for our strike, and they have accepted to intervene by trying to link up with the government authorities. Nothing has changed. The various issues we complain about still remain unresolved. And so until a resolution is found, the strike will continue.
We've also been speaking to the leadership of the Senior Staff Association of University of Ghana, and they believe the government is not ready to meet their demands. Listen to George Anson, who's the national chairman of the association.
We have concluded negotiation. We have signed the agreement. That is where their work ends. And they have written to the ministry for the ministry to authorize payment. So for fair wages, what else do we have to do with them? For them, concerning this strike, they have done their part. Allowance, particular allowance, cast through from senior member to junior staff. Now, this same ministry has written for UTAC to be paid. But what about us? As we speak, nothing has come out. If you all go to the kitchen to prepare meals, and when we audition it, you take your bowl out to go and find your own means of feeding yourself, will you be happy? As long as they refuse to pay, they are on strike.
Let's bring in Dr. Cynthia Sena Akpegro, is Executive Secretary, Vice Chancellors Ghana, and they are, as we speak, taking emergency measures to avoid a complete shutdown of the universities across the country. Doc, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. From what I understand, you've arranged several meetings to try and get this resolved as soon as possible. When are these meetings happening, and what are you hoping to get from it?
Thank you, Evans, and good evening to our listeners. We have held, we have commenced the meetings. We have held, as the president of Gawer has already said, we have had one crucial meeting with Gawer. We have indicated, put up some decisions, and we have started working on them. We have had some engagements with GTEC, that is the regulatory body that has the authority to be issuing the directives from Ministry of Finance and Education. We've engaged them also. The chairman of VCG has engaged them. Unfortunately, many of these officers are out of town. We expect that they'll be back on Sunday, and we hold some emergency meetings. But in the meantime, we are speaking behind the scenes. We are, on calls day in and day out since the strike was declared. So we have a schedule to meet with the Minister of Education. When things like this happen, we have a joint meeting, because you don't want to meet the agencies privately and then this will say I wasn't there at the meeting, I didn't hear this. So we are meeting with we are scheduling to meet with the Minister of Education, Minister of Employment and Labour, Ministry of Finance, all the representatives, and GTEC itself, and plus VCG, and then we can all sit around the table and determine the way forward, because obviously, this means that the universities are shutting down all over again and disrupting the academic year, and this is not good for anybody.
Is it that bad, though, that if this is not resolved as soon as possible, you'll be forced to shut down the universities?
It is bad, Evans. It is bad. The academic year, if you followed since COVID, it has been disrupted in a very big way. Instead of students coming back in August, now they come back all the way in January, and that also shortens the teaching and learning period. And the university curriculum is wide and broad, and the students need to be on campus, for a lengthy amount of time to be able to get everything. Well, they can't get everything 100%, but the more they are on campus, the more teaching and learning will go on. So if we disrupt this again, it means that, I don't know, it's not a good picture. So we are also working around the clock. We are working behind the scenes. We are talking to the agencies to see how, and we are talking to the unions themselves. So VCG will have a meeting with the unions all together, and then we will, this thing needs just constant communication and trying to diffuse the misunderstandings and all those things, so that we all come to a better agreement and make sure that we get back to the campuses for work to go on.
All the key concerns raised by the unions borders around money, the field maintenance, the allowances, the Tier 2 pension. Do you have the money to solve the problem?
VCG it's government that has the money. It has never been the universities per se. It has always been government that pays emoluments and all these basic items. It's government that pays it. The other IGF and non-monetary things that the universities take care of, and that one has been agreed upon, and it's happening. Once we sign off fair wages, there's an indication, and then the payment is made. But when it comes to the fiscal, that comes from the government, and that is where the issue is coming from. So I'm sure that if we have a roundtable conference and talk about these things, we should be able to come to some arrangements.
But we've been doing a lot of talking, and that's a concern of a lot of people. Moving forward, how soon will the schools be forced to shut down?
Well, that one will have to be left for to be decided upon by the universities when we meet again. We are arranging to meet very soon on in early October. So. But then I'm sure we'll even have some emergency meetings immediately. We note what the way forward. But it's a very dire situation. With the universities themselves now determining that we want to shut down or we want to postpone reopening and all that. Very soon, all the others will probably join in. But the earlier we talk about it, the better. These conflict things, you can only talk about them. You can only talk and then take action. If you don't do the communication first, the misunderstanding continues to thrive. So we need to talk. When we talk, we understand, and then we will take the decisions and take the actions. But I'm only praying that we will do that very quickly and soon, so that we're able to resolve the issue.
If talking fails, what's the backup plan?
Let's get there first. I'm not sure talking can completely fail like that. Let's get there first.
Thank you, Senna, for joining us here on News Night. Well, that's not all. Papani, we've been doing some checks and we understand that technical universities will also begin to see similar strikes in coming days. Tell us more.
Well, Fosti, so let me take you. The Technical University Senior Administrators Association of Ghana have also served notice of their intention to initiate industrial action in response to what they call breach in government agreement with them. That is what they call the collective bargaining agreement. Their concerns are not so far different from that of the teacher unions at the other universities. They're also asking for their vehicle and fuel maintenance allowance. And again, they're also asking for their tier 2 pension allowance. However, they say that government has refused to implement these revised allowances, constituting a clear violation of their rights and a repudiation of the agreement. Now, further, government has discriminated against TUSAG in the payment of common allowances due to the unions of the same class of workers at the public universities. They are demanding the payment of the agreed upon rates for vehicle maintenance allowance, off-campus fuel, utility, and sanitation security allowances for month ending September 2024. It is our resolve that should these payments, and this I'm quoting for them, not reflect in the ending of September 2024, that will definitely validate their claim and they will proceed on leave at the end of the month.
Well, there are more strikes on the horizon. This time, you may not be able to get access to the remains of your deceased loved ones as the Mortuary Workers Union plans to withdraw their services within the next 12 hours. The union say they are unable to access PPEs for their work and they are yet to receive allowances for acting as frontline workers during the COVID pandemic. General Secretary of the union, Richard Kofi Jordan, says preservation of bodies will be on hold for as long as they are on strike.
One of them has to do with the personal protective equipment. Do we have to negotiate for personal protective equipment? No. It has to be provided. Number one has to do with some salary arrears that's dated back 2020, which has not been fulfilled even though promises were given. The third one has to do with some 500 financial clearance, which we are hoping that government can issue for us to employ people and recruit people. Unfortunately, on our side, mortuary workers were exempted. We were told that those on the front line, somebody who is an accountant who works in an office with a tie and coat, blowing an air condition, becomes front line. And those who are actually working for the past 4 years, we have followed up on this, but there's no results. Where we have gotten to now is that tomorrow, God willing, if we are all alive, all mortuary workers in the Republic of this country, of Ghana, shall lay down their tools. We are not going to do anything that we do. Everything we do will not be done tomorrow. It's a total withdrawal of services. So one, we are not going to take the body in the ward. We are not going to accept body from homes. Even under any circumstance, whether emergency or that, we are not going to attend. We are not going to be there to take care of anybody. We are not going to discharge bodies to their owners. And we are not also going to do any embalming or post-mortem at the morgue. Nothing is going to happen. We are going to close our doors, watching and monitoring and waiting for the General Secretary to tell them to either go back to work or start work.
While the Public Sector Workers Union has issued a 6-day ultimatum to government to heed to the demands of the striking staff of the National Commission for Civic Education over stalled negotiation on their poor working condition, the union has now thrown its weight behind NCCE. Deputy General Secretary of the union, John Sampa, says they will lay down their tools if the ultimatum expires.
Well, they are saying that negotiation has not stalled and we have called industrial action. Our point is not about negotiation has not stalled. Our point is the fact that for almost 2 years that we started negotiation, we have not completed and we cannot continue to do so. That is why we have taken the industrial action. If we are unable to resolve the issues by 30th, then obviously the 46th public sector institution will join the NCC and back on industrial action. We completely disagree with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission on the fact that we have gone on strike without exhausting the process. We can never go on ending negotiation forever. And therefore, we think that the staff got to their elastic limits, and we could no longer control the workers. It is out of frustrations. It is out of poor working conditions. It is out of discrimination against them. That is why they embark on the action. As a mother union, although we persuaded them to wait, they could not listen to us, and they went on the industrial action. We support it because they are members, and we are looking forward to resolve the whole issue, including NCCA and the other institutions. If we are unable to do that by 30th September, we have already given notice of industrial action.
Well, let's take you now to Parliament, and we'll be doing a lot for Parliament shortly. But then, Evans, we're just receiving some breaking news.
Story we're learning about that in the last few minutes. The managing director of ECG, the electricity company of Ghana, Samuel Dubik Mahama, has resigned as the head of that institution. In the last few minutes, we're learning this, and people around him have confirmed, himself has done so to me, that he had stepped down for personal reasons. And this is coming at a time when we know that the ECG's had issues with the PULC on the cash waterfall mechanisms, but also with the IPPs, the independent power producers, on this matter. It's been a running issue. This year we saw it got to a head, actually, at a point when accusations and counter-accusations started flying between the regulator, the PULC, and the ECG about the management of the cash waterfall mechanisms. He himself was personally accused of pretending over the mismanagement of the cash waterfall mechanisms, which in essence is a pool that was created where all the monies made in the power sector value chain goes into this particular mechanism, and then the ECG, because the ECG is at the end where they bill all of us and take the money and then distribute it to all players in that value chain. It appears that hasn't worked over the period. We have seen recently, just last week, the concerns raised by the PULC in letters to both the presidency but also to the energy ministry, raising concerns about a failure of the ECG to comply with the cash waterfall mechanism arrangement for May, June, July, and August. Shortly thereafter, we saw that the ECG came back fighting the claims, and they had explained that the ECG, indeed, the allegation that had been leveled against them, that we were mismanaging the waterfall mechanism, wasn't true. And they explained that they raised 5 key points in this particular response. That one, they cited the failure of the stakeholders to confirm actual payments. That was one rebuttal that they put out. They also explained that the inability of IPPs to validate the amounts received does not inherently imply that ECG has breached the cash waterfall mechanism. So they were fighting of the claim that they had breached the cash waterfall mechanism. They went on to say that, contrary to assertions, it has fully complied with the payments to Tier 2 beneficiaries. As I said, if you're wondering what that cash waterfall mechanism is all about, is this pool where all the monies you make in the energy value chain comes to, and everybody else who plays in that particular sector gets paid, including VRA, including the IPPs. They insist that payments have been made to Tier 2 beneficiaries, including the PULC during the reviewed period, because the PULC itself also benefits from the cash waterfall mechanism. And this has been something that has been ongoing for the last few months, and many thought it had been resolved at some point. The PULC actually resolved to sanction the ECG and its board, including Samuel Dubik Mahama himself. And we remember that the ECG got their lawyers right back to the PULC, and this was a very public fight that rarely happens between two state institutions involving a regulator. My colleague Elton Brobe has also been working his sources and joins us on the line with more on this. And Elton, we're learning in the last few minutes that the ECG head has resigned his post in the last few minutes. You've been learning a bit more on this.
Yes, Evan. So what I have in my possession is a letter dated today, Wednesday, September 25, 2024, and addressed to the board chairman of the ECG. And the letter is titled Resignation Letter. And this is signed by Dubik Mahama, Samuel Dubik Mahama. He says, I'm writing formally resign from my position as managing director the Electricity Company of Ghana effective 2 weeks from the above date. This decision, according to this letter, has not come easily, but after much reflection, it says I have concluded that it is in my best interest to step away for personal reasons. The letter goes on to say that over the past 2 years and 4, I've had the profound honor of serving this esteemed organization, and I'm truly grateful for the opportunities I've received. I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to the board for your unwavering support and guidance throughout my tenure. Yes, I also wish to express my sincere gratitude to the President for the trust placed in me, which has been a significant aspect of my journey here. And he says, I'm proud to leave behind a tangible achievement in our operations, having successfully reduced system losses from 30 to 26%. This progress reflects the hard work and dedication of our entire team, and I'm confident that they will continue to strive for excellence in the years to come. He concludes by saying that to my colleagues and staff, I urge you to keep pushing forward. Your commitment and passion for this country have been inspiring, and I have no doubt that you will provide steadfast support to whoever assumes my role. Your resilience and hard work are vital to the future success of the Electricity Company of Ghana. As I embark on this new chapter in my life, I carry with me cherished memories, invaluable lessons learned from each of you. Thank you once again for the opportunity to be part of this incredible organization. I look forward to continued growth and success of ECG. And this is signed by Samuel Dobe Mahama. It's addressed to the board chair of the ECG, effective today.
And I've been on the phone to him trying to get an understanding of what really prompted this. He insists, as you see in that particular letter, that he resigned for personal reasons. The president will have a say in this particular matter. We don't know yet if this resignation has been accepted or not, but it's something that he definitely believes is the right call to make at this time. And this is coming within the context of what we've been reporting, Elting, over the last few days. Yourself on the Midday News have reported quite extensively about the running battles the ECG has had with the regulator, the PULC, which has played out in the public domain. We actually, at one point, last few months, did a Joy News national dialogue on this, and it played out again. We saw the entrenched positions that were taken both by the PULC and the ECG for the very first time in a long time indeed. I don't remember the last time this happened, where a regulator was publicly fighting an institution it regulates, and it all revolves around the alleged mismanagement of the cash waterfall mechanism. And Elton, you will remember that it got so bad that the PULC at some point actually threatened to jail the heads, the board of directors, including the MD, but they were also slapped with huge fines for them to pay. The ECG then got their lawyers to write back, and yes, it took the presidency to try and intervene to try and resolve this particular matter. You cannot ignore that background. Now hearing and confirming that the MD of ECG has resigned.
Of course, Evans, you can never discount the tension that existed between the PULC and, of course, the MD of ECG. I can make reference to the last letter the ECG MD wrote to the finance minister, giving an indication of the state of ECG at the time. And these letters are dated 28 August 2024, and then two letters, actually, one titled Request for Capital Expenditure for Replacement of Prepaid Meters. The other one, the same day, also requested for assistance in exporting power to mitigate foreign exchange losses. And the last letter they wrote to the PULC, and this is dated September 11th, request for faster period for cash build-up. And these letters make reference to the fact that the state of ECG requires some kind of capital infusion. Otherwise, the possibility of the company going bankruptcy could not be ruled out. And that is the same response the PULC provided when it sought to clarify the reason behind the bankruptcy, whether that was introduced in the conversation, and made reference to the fact that, in fact, it was actually introduced into the conversation by ECG in what conclusion of PULC. So clearly, there had been back and forth tension communication between the two bodies, and I'm absolutely certain that, I mean, it got to a point that the big Mahama has to virtually write this letter today and then gives indication of stepping down as MD in 2 weeks' time.
And if you're just joining us, and some major developing story as far as the power sector is concerned, the managing director of the ECG has resigned. And we just read out that statement to you. Is a letter that he's writing to the board of the ECG. Weighing in right now is Nana Moisi, he's executive director of the Institute for Energy Security. They've been watching this space very closely. We've spoken to him earlier this year when the feud between the PRLC and the ECG played out in the public domain. And Nana Moisi surprised by the outcome.
Good evening to you, Kojo, and to your listeners. From the IESX, we aren't surprised at the resignation of the boss of ECG. It's been something that we're waiting for a long time. We're getting the indication that for personal reasons that he's resigning. Yes, probably for non-performance as he takes it. That's why he may resign. But I think that it's a good, move he's done. Just that we count it as meaningless unless it's linked with the resignation of the board as well.
You want the board to also resign?
Definitely. The board cannot be, when we are talking about the performance of ECG, the poor performance, we cannot discount the role of the board. Strategic, direction they give approval to major undertakings of the ECG. If the ECG performed well, I'm sure they would have taken some credit. But for non-performance, they should equally take the blame as well.
Just recently that the board chair of ECG himself was rumored to have stepped down and a replacement was found. I mean, the ECG has gone through a very turbulent period. I mean, to lose the MD and now to suggest that the entire board should go at this time, critical time indeed, with just a few weeks, actually days now, just over 70 days for an election. Is it the right thing to do?
Well, I want us to delink it from the election. And we are waiting to do the right thing until, we have a new government. Then, of course, we are accepting to, we are accepting underperformance. We are trying to approve of non-performance and put the danger of the entire power, put the entire power sector in danger. I'm sure that if we want to do any correction, it must start from today. We don't have tomorrow. It's been consistently for 1 year that we've seen that ECG has not been able to collect even more than 60% of the revenue that it is mandated to collect. Would we want to wait for another 2 months? Every month, we lose over 50% of the revenue that we need to have as a country, and also to put the cash waterfall mechanism in good shape. We're waiting for another 2-3 months for a new government reform to do these corrections. No. The earlier we take the step, the better. So let's separate the decision that we need to make today from the election.
And you've made the point about the board resigning, but remember that the context, Dubik Mahama, as we know, has said in the letter to the board that he is resigning for personal reasons. But we've seen this very public fight between himself, the ECG, and the PULC. Is this an opportunity to restructure the whole institution, ECG, at a time when you've seen that even Asante Hini weighed in recently about privatizing that institution? I mean, considering what has happened, is an opportunity to take a pause and look at this more broadly, more comprehensively?
A huge opportunity presented to us today that we need to correct all the wrongs that we've seen under the ECG. Never have I heard that a whole PRC, a regulator, will be stopped from undertaking its regulatory, steps. Seeing clearly that a player within the same sector fighting a regulator. This is the first time I've seen this. A simple timetable. We got indication that even a whole minister will back the ECG not to produce one. That open fight we saw between these two key players was uncalled for and so bad. In fact, It sets even an investment in the sector. We saw the same when it came to Agrico and PRC. We think that we have a good moment to do the right thing this time around. And so the board must still go. Let's have some fresh limbs. Let's get new people in the boardroom, fresh ideas to correct the non-performance we have today.
And then I thank you very much. Then I'm Mwisi, there's Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security, joining us on the back of that developing story we're learning about in the last few minutes. The Managing Director of the Electricity Company of Ghana, Samuel Dubik Mahama, has resigned. And that comes in the context of a long-standing feud with the PRLC that has been playing out in the public domain for quite a while. I've interviewed Samuel Dubik Mahama many times in the last few months on this particular subject. And it all started, if you recall, with this regulatory order that was issued by PULC. And this was in March, on the 18th of March. And if you recall, at the time, the country was experiencing a period of erratic power supply, call it DUMSO. And ECG had come out to say that the reason for that was some malfunctioning transformers across the country, some 630 overloaded transformers. And the PULC then wrote to the ECG, asking the ECG to provide evidence of that, and we did the Doomsday Diaries on the back of that. That didn't stop that back and forth from continuing. As we've had tonight, the CG boss is gone. We're hearing from the minority today on the power sector. They are actually alleging that we have a significant shortfall in generation that may be plunging many of us in darkness.
Yes, they allege about 500 megawatts of power shortfall. Now, they're making this allegation on the back of concerns because they say between Tuesday and Wednesday, the ECG put out several notices of outages in parts of the country, but attributed the power cuts to routine maintenance. But the minority spokesperson on energy, Evans John Janapol, says the power cuts is due to load shedding, attributing the situation to poor management of the power sector.
As we speak today, there is load shedding ongoing. Gridco has been cautioned not to inform customers. Yesterday, there was a deficit of more than 500 megawatts. Today, they are going to shed load, and customers in Ghana will be affected. Talo Ghana has not been paid even $1 for the past 9 months for gas supply to Ghana Gas, and Talo is threatening to curtail supply of gas. The IPPs have just dispatched a letter to the Minister of Finance intending to halt supply of power for debt and liabilities hovering around $1.2 billion. It is sad that the energy sector is collapsing. The PURC recently confirmed that ECG is on the verge of bankruptcy. ECG alone incurred a debt of 10 billion cedis in their latest financial statement. All is not well with the energy sector. It is obvious from what is happening that the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government is just giving palliative care to the energy sector, intending to hand over a broken, dilapidated, aging energy sector to the Mahama administration. We are well aware that it will take a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of commitment to restore the energy sector back on the path of positive trajectory. But what we would not tolerate is for this government, which is on the verge of losing the elections, to rush into signing contracts through Ghana Gas. A similar one is being done at Tema Oil Refinery. And let me also caution Tema Oil Refinery and their staff, especially the senior management, that the opacity that is characterizing the award or sale of the Tema Oil Refinery will also not be countenanced.
Well, it's time now for business, and George Riafi joins me in the studio. George, what should we expect?
Well, we'll be expecting to be getting you more details about some shortage of LPG that has hit the market, and we'll be getting you more details on that one as well. And all regional airlines operating out of Kotoka International Airport to be moved to Terminal 2 I'll be getting you more details on that one. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery Synthesis Tanks.
You see them. You see them every day in our communities, doing what they do best to make a difference in the lives of people. You see them. You see them bring positive transformation to the lives of people in the areas of education, health, and economic empowerment. While many will see them and turn their faces away, you see them. You see their efforts, and you know they're heroes who deserve to be celebrated. MTN Heroes of Change is setting out to unearth and to celebrate a new set of heroes. You can throw the light on the heroes you see in your community by nominating them to win 100,000 Ghana cedis and other prizes to help them expand their work. Just fill an online nomination form at mtn.com.gh or send a WhatsApp with a 1-minute video of your nominee's project on 055 141 1122. Deadline for nominations is 18th October 2024, so don't waste time. Nominate your hero now. MTN Heroes of Change. Be the change you wish to see.
Hooray! Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited's back-to-school promotion is here with us once again. From August to September this year, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is giving a generous 10 to 20% discount on all school items like textbooks, pens, pencils, erasers, exercise books, and much more across all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takrade, Winneba, and Cape Coast. Parents, teachers, and students, please hurry while stocks last. For more information, call us on 0506 487 557 or 0302 764 209 or via email at info@kingdomgh.com. You can also visit our website www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Kingdom Books, where quality and affordability are both assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Supposed to happen, let me find the
Choboy! We have a new leader in town. OBRNT. I'm for. Me don't want to be when him say my baby, maybe more charcoal for whiter teeth. More charcoal. Not only that, maybe lemon. More lemon. Zinc for fresher breath. More zinc. And fluoride for stronger teeth.
Introducing the new President Charcoal packed with more power with a combination of charcoal and lemon for naturally whiter teeth. Grab yours now. This advert is FDA approved.
This October, come and encounter Jesus in a way you've never experienced before. The Maker's House Chapel International presents Experience Conference 2024 under the theme Jesus. From 6th to 13th October, join us for a week of divine connection and spiritual renewal. Be transformed by powerful ministrations from anointed men of God, Pastor Jonathan Miller, Reverend Eastwood Anaba, Dr. Dion Bias, and your host, Dr. Michael Brady Nyamiche. The venue is the Destiny Arena of the Maker's House Chapel International, Hatra Atomic, Atchison School of Nuclear and Allied Sciences. Weekday services start 6:30 p.m. and weekends 8 a.m. Experience Conference 2024. Don't just hear about it, be a part of it. Experience Jesus.
The luckiest. Star 712 #. Luck is everywhere, for everyone, yeah. The luckiest. Star 712 #. Luck is everywhere, for everyone, yeah. Doctors, nurses, barbers, drivers, bouncers, friends, teachers, bankers. You could be the luckiest. You could be the luckiest. East, west, north, south, you could be the luckiest. You could be the luckiest. Accra to Paga. Let's go. The luckiest. Star 712 #. Luck is everywhere, for everyone, yeah. The luckiest. Star 712 #. Luck is everywhere, for everyone, yeah. Doctors, nurses, barbers, drivers, bouncers, friends, teachers, bankers. Star 712 #. You could be the luckiest.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, parts of Accra and Tema have been hit by shortage of liquefied petroleum gas. Now, this is due to what industry players describe as some supply challenges with Tema Oil Refinery. Vice President of the LPG Market Association, Gabriel Kumi, tells Joy Business the Tema Oil Refinery must move to deal with the situation now.
If the supply situation does not improve by tomorrow, we're likely to have a very serious situation on hand. We have tried to find out what is really happening. And now our understanding is that the company that brought in the ship last week and distributed to all the depots in Tema is not able to reconcile its figures with Tema Oil Refinery, and that is what is holding up everybody. So at this juncture, we will call on Tema Oil Refinery to ensure that whatever reconciliation that it has to do, it does it as immediately as possible, so that the rest of the BDCs, the rest of the depots that are holding the product, can begin releasing this product onto the market through the LPG marketing companies. We don't know why only Tor is having issue with reconciliation.
Gabriel Kumi is the Vice President of the LPG Marketers Association of Ghana. But some checks with officials of Tema Oil Refinery just some few minutes ago say the issue has been resolved. Now I'll be getting you more development on the issue as the time goes on. To other stories, then, almost all regional airlines operating out of Kotoka International Airport will soon be moved from Terminal 3 to Terminal 2. The Ghana Airport Company is proposing December 1, 2024 as the expected date for these airlines to be relocated. There is more in this report.
The move is part of efforts by the Ghana Airport Company Limited to decongest Terminal 3 at the Kotoka International Airport, which currently serves as the operating hub for both the regional and international airlines. However, Joy Business is learning that the move will hit regional airlines like Sky, Ibom Air, Air Peace, and Africa World Airlines. Sources say the directive will also affect other carriers like Egypt Air, Kenya Airways, Ethiopian Airlines, Rwanda Air, and South Africa Airlines. The proposals have not gone down well with some of the airlines who are first worried about the short notice and the fact that some of these international airlines are also doing regional operations as the fear of losing passengers to them. There are also concerns that a passenger traveling on a regional airline is paying the same tax as someone flying to London. Some of the airlines operating on the West African region are also worried about the current state of Terminal 2 at the Kotoka International Airport. Some have described the move by the Ghana Airport Company Limited as a cost-saving venture and make use of the Terminal 2, which is said to be underutilized. The Ghana Airport Company, in a statement released earlier this year, revealed that they are working to move some airlines to the Terminal 2 as part of some restructuring exercise.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, businesses are optimistic that Ghana will pass the third review of the IMF program, which will go a long way to impact positively on the environment. They also believe that this will go a long way to aid in the recovery of the economy. President of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Clement Oseamako, tells Joy Business they're looking to the news also impacting on their operations going forward.
And we have seen growth rate moving up to 4.7. We are also very optimistic that currently the exchange rate forex has been quite stable, though we were not able to handle it at the beginning of the year. Inflation has moved away from 53 point something to 20.4, showing significantly that the bailout has been very supportive. Besides, the recent etc. that we did with our creditors has also been very fruitful. I believe that if we continue like that, the economy will come back to where it used to be. I believe that it will boost the economy, it will bring confidence back, and then the exchange rate will be stable. So we are very optimistic that the bailout, I think that at the moment we are left with about 1.4, 1.7 has been dispersed, and that is being very good. Whatever comes to us as a result of the bailout, in addition to if we are getting the entire last tranche, then that will be so much good for the economy.
Dr. Clement Oseamako is the president of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Now, mining firms are raising issues about government tax policy measures towards the sector. The firms are especially worried about the upfront payment of taxes on the yet-to-be commenced production on their concessions. Suleiman Kone is Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines.
But I don't like talking about the fiscal regime too much because I'm not of the school of thought which says that once you come into a country, you have an agreement, you know what the fiscal regime is, you decide to do business here, you complain. No, I've never believed in that. You know what it is, you decided to actually opt for it, you have to play by the rules. However, when in the middle of production and the company has made all these investments and then you start tweaking the fiscal regime, that is where the issue is. And that's why you have some of the companies who are saying that, look, I need to have a stability agreement or a project development agreement because then it freezes the fiscal terms. Don't forget that we are talking about an industry whose price is not determined by the companies. They are effectively a price taker. We are not like an FMCG, you decide to brand, you have differentiation in terms of the premium quality of the product and therefore you can charge a premium and all of that. Ours is not like that. Ours is a commodity. So you have an area which you need to manage to be viable and that is your cost. So if you have a situation where governments upfront decide that, look, I'm going to take so much.
Suleiman Kone is the Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines. To some market news, a Culture Development Bank is said to have raised about 1.5 billion Ghana cedis through rights issue. Not this was contained in a circular to investors on the Ghana Stock Exchange. This has resulted in some 1.3 billion shares listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange. If you have invested on the market from January to now, you've gotten more than 40% return on the market, which is better than other investment instruments on the market as we speak right now. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Fosti or Faustina.
Thank you, George. It's Faustina. Now it's time for sports. What's happening?
Well, the Black Stars of Ghana and their former captain Stephen Appiah wants more local players to be included in the senior national team in subsequent collapse. Appiah was speaking before Parliament's Select Committee on Sports as it continued its deliberations on the petition submitted before it by the Save Ghana Football Forum.
Yes, I think we have to give the local players, we have to give them the chance, the confidence to play for the national team. So in our time, maybe there are certain players that looks as if they are key players in the team. We were not key players. We have players like William Theo and the rest who were pushing us. So we have to make sure that we are not going to allow them to take our positions. When we played against Niger, the number 7 who was the best player on the pitch, who played for Niger, is a Ghanaian. We have a striker who won the Goal King in Ghana Premier League because he didn't get a chance. Now he's playing for Togo. So we have to give our boys, we have to give them the chance.
Thank you, Achu Tamakwe, for bringing us sports. Now let's do some other stories. A man in Dambai has founded Dream Village, a sustainable farming and training center to nurture the next generation of climate activists. Located near the Oti River, it uses eco-friendly housing, solar power, and rainwater harvesting. Over 2 years, the village will train local farmers and environmentalists in regenerative agriculture, promoting safe food production and environmental stewardship. On our climate focus series today, Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin examines how these initiatives support climate change mitigation.
My name is Clement Matomas and I'm the founder of Dream Village, Ghana. Our main objective is to provide a space where people can come and dream. Farmers can come and learn about regenerative agriculture. And
Clement Matomasin is overseeing the village garden while other workers engage in various tasks to maintain productivity. Structures at the village are from mud-based construction materials such as earth and thatch, which are cost-effective and can sequester carbon dioxide.
The round huts help harness energy within the housing system so that at least positive energy will keep staying within the housing. It helps to sustain it instead of burning the bushes. We have the thatch that is being harvested to roof the houses.
According to Clement, the Dream Village firmly believes in the transformative potential of regenerative agriculture to empower the upcoming generation of farmers.
When we go into a community, as part of what we do is providing training. We notice that more and more young people are drifting away from farming because right from young age we are made to believe that farming is hard labor, farming is for the poor.
Experts warn that rising temperatures and the effect of climate change are disproportionately affecting vulnerable populations worldwide, including those in Ghana.
Climate Focus is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development, and the Climate Development Knowledge Network.
Time now for fact-checking. Today we're focusing on some recent claims made by the Majority Leader and Member of Parliament for Ifutu, Alexander Fenyomakin, on the selection of Dr. Bawumia as a flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party. Here's head of our research desk, Raymond Akwa, with more.
Alexander Fenyomakin said NPP is the first party ever since independence to give a Muslim the opportunity to be a flag bearer.
For the first time since 1957, when this country attained independence, it has taken the MPP as the first party ever to give a Muslim an opportunity to be a flag bearer in the politics of the country.
Now, the claim that the governing party is the first party since independence to give a Muslim the opportunity to be a flag bearer in the politics of this country is completely false. Ahead of the 1979 general elections, the political party called Social Democratic Front, SDF, made a Muslim, Ibrahim Mahama, its presidential candidate with Mausi Dake as his running mate. Now, the SDF actually won 3 constituencies in the northern region. Again, we all know that Hassan Yarega, a Muslim, was elected flag bearer in 2011 by the PNC to contest the presidential election in 2012. Of course, he received 0.22% in the vote in that year.
Well, that's it for News 9. For more news, please log on to myjournline.com. My name is Christina Safu, and I've been doing this with...
My name is Evans Mensah. Up next is Strong and Sassy. And Inimwani Mado is here with the girls. What are you talking about tonight?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great.
So, I've been talking about abuse for the past 2 weeks. So I thought I was done, right? And then during the week, I got a very long text message from a lady sharing her story and saying that, for her, in her life and what she's seen, with her parents, if her husband is not beating her, then he doesn't love her.
You found one like that?
I didn't find. They found me.
Oh,
and so it was funny because you know how the universe works. Once one person comes forward, then you're hit with a lot of different stories of women who feel, that the passion and the rage and the
abuse is love,
and all of that is love. So today we're going to talk about
Are you
that.
talking to one of them?
Well, unfortunately, none of them wants their voices out there, but I have their stories.
Okay, we'll share.
So I'll be sharing. I'll be sharing their stories. But you can understand that it's probably not something that some people want to speak about publicly, and these were quite well educated.
I'm happy that you have a clinical psychologist on the panel, because I really want to understand the mindset that allows a woman to say to herself that if you don't beat me, then you don't love me.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's the passion, isn't it? It's especially if you're in a relationship with a man who is maybe somewhat quiet, somewhat not expressive. So it's in those moments of rage where he's, that maybe you feel like, oh, I have his full attention. It's anyways. So yeah, stay tuned in. Strong and Sassy coming up.